Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks for tuning in for today's video. We are going to be talking about armchair anglers today, the armchair anglers that came out in full force at the Grand Lake Toyota Series tournament last week. I've got a little message for them, and I've got a little commentary we're going to give into that, so we'll get into that real quick. So dragging this morning, man, all week last week of the Toyota Series, I drove back and forth from Springfield, Missouri, which is over a 2-hour drive one way. So 5 hours a day in the truck, and getting up at 3:30 in the morning, and then coming home and taking care of the kids. So it felt good. I slept in this morning until like 8 o'clock. So felt good, but I'm still recovering from the week of driving and all that type of stuff. Real quick, guys, before we get into the video, just wanted to remind everybody about our Fish the Moment virtual lessons and our lake map breakdowns. If you're interested in either one of those, I'll put the Fish the Moment link in the description. Also, if you're interested in booking a private message with me, booking a on the water lesson with me, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler. Got everything out of the way there. Okay, guys, I want to talk about the armchair angler mentality here that came out. Now, this last week, yesterday at Grand Lake, I wound up finishing 64th in the tournament out of, I think there was 220 anglers in the tournament. And I wasn't happy with 64th, but at the same time, 64th is not like, absolute sucking, the worst that you can suck. I mean, I finished 69th 2 years ago when I qualified for the Toyota Series Championship. I finished 69th in my first tournament and still made it. So yeah, I wish I'd have done better, but at the same time, I'm still in the hunt for the championship. But regardless, when you finish 64th, the armchair anglers came out in a full force last week, letting me know how bad I suck, letting me know that how I can't catch fish anymore, letting me know that I'm over the hill and washed up, letting me know that I'm never going to compete unless I use live scope. Comments range from these very hateful vitriol comments to just mild observations on how bad I suck for finishing 64th out of 220 guys. So I want to discuss the armchair angler mentality in a broader picture as sort of an observation of human nature. And one of the things I'm going to say about this, the first thing I'm going to talk about as far as performance, like my performance in tournaments, is you can't, and like I said, this is an observation. I'm not making excuses here. It's sort of an observation, but first of all, let's talk about age a little bit. One of the things that you're going to realize is that these comments are not about me as far as when anglers get older and their performance goes downhill. It's basically an attack on anybody that's older. So if you're an older angler out there, this is basically what they're saying is pointed at you the same way, because the reality of the situation, guys, is when you get older, your performance goes downhill. Look at Rick Clunn. Rick Clunn qualified for 28 Bassmaster Classics in a row, and he has not qualified for a single Bassmaster Classic in 16 years, guys. He's still fishing the Elite Series. Do you hear guys talking about Rick Clunn sucking? No. I mean, Rick Clunn is one of the greatest anglers, one of the top 2 or 3 greatest anglers in the world in the history of the sport. And I guarantee Rick Clunn has forgot more about bass fishing than the top pros out there will ever know. But regardless, he hasn't made a classic in 16 years. And look at Kevin Van Dam retiring. One of my opinions on that, I don't know, now I'm not speaking for Kevin, but Kevin retired from bass fishing, from professional fishing. He was getting up in his 50s, and I think it was a smart thing, because I think he knew, or he's had to be aware of the fact that his performance was going to continually go downhill. Maybe he wanted to retire early to sort of, while he was sort of still seen at the top of his game, he didn't want to go for a decade and continually go downhill. Guys, there's something about it. When you start reaching 50 years old, your performance is going to go downhill. Now, all you dudes out there, there's a handful, there's a group of hard charging fishermen out there right now. Most of them are in their late 20s to around early 40s. And you guys are at the top of your game. You guys may look at the older dudes and say, well, they're washed up and they suck. But guys, your time is coming to suck. Enjoy the top of your game right now in your 30s. All you dudes that are killing it right now in the local regional and national tournaments. You know who I'm talking about. You guys, your day is coming where your performance is going to start going downhill. That is the inevitable byproduct of age, because with age, you not only you have the mental and physical acuities start to go downhill, but you have other interests, you have other responsibilities. You don't have the free time to spend at it, and it's going to go downhill. So right off the bat, the Armchair Anglers, that is one of the things I want you to realize the next time you guys attack older anglers for their performance going downhill. Now, secondly, let's get into the live scope deal a little bit. This tournament, as I predicted, and as every tournament from now on, unless every fish on the lake is actually on a bed, is going to be dominated by live scope. That's just until we get it made illegal. And I hear comments all the time, Randy, you're never going to compete without live scope. You better keep up with the times, you're going to get left behind. I hear the whole thing about it. Guys, I'm here to tell you I'm never getting live scope. I will continue to work to have it made illegal in tournaments. It's just like all my subscribers say, live scoping is the same thing as spotlighting for deer. There's no different. It's spotlighting for fish on the water. And in my opinion out there, we're going to reach a point, when we already have, and I've had one of my subscribers left a comment yesterday. He was saying that live scope and technology is outpacing the ability of the lakes and the resources sustainability, which is true. But what the deal is my goal with that is, at the very least, to get it made illegal in the actual tournament competition day. Maybe have it where it's legal in practice, but make it illegal in the tournament competition day. And guys, if you doubt my resolve on this, I have lost thousands and thousands of YouTube subscribers because of my stance on forward-facing sonar. I obviously lose out thousands of dollars of money not using it, but it's the principle of the thing. I have principles that are ingrained as far as the future of the sport. My interest in fishing is the sustainability of this sport for future generations. All you dudes out there that are live scopers, you're not looking at the long-term sustainability picture. You're looking at what's here for you right here and now. How many fish can I catch right here and now? How's it going to benefit me right here and now, without looking into the future of what this technology is doing to our fisheries? So I'm never going to use it. I don't care if I ever make another check in a tournament again. I can at least, when my time on this earth is done, I can look back and say that I fought the good fight. So that's not going to change with that. But the point is, guys, it's very easy to critique other people. I'm not just talking about myself. All you dudes out there that were in the warmth of your living room, sending messages on my Facebook page, on my YouTube page, while I was down there in 26-degree weather, 16-degree wind chill, running 70 miles an hour across the lake, and you're in a nice, comfortable, room. It's easy to say that. But finally, what I want to finish up here, let me tell you how you can have a bad tournament, and I'll unfold this. I know Grand Lake as good as anybody in that tournament. I fished it since 1970. My mom and dad had a trailer house on the lake for 30 years. I know every place on that lake where there's a bass. When you go to a body of water and you've got 2.5 days to practice on a 45,000 acre lake, you make a determination based upon your experience of where those fish are going to be. And you've got, in my case, I had like 7 hours today of practice for 2.5, 3 days. So you go into those areas and you experiment with your techniques. And sometimes you hit on the right thing. Sometimes you hit on the right bait. Sometimes you hit on the right color. Sometimes you hit on the right timing cycle. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But here's the thing. If you make a commitment to a technique like what I did, and you don't stay with that technique and you don't commit to that technique, then you're never going to see the full potential of it unfold. So what happens if you commit to a technique and you bail out early and try something else, you get spun out. And if you stay with the technique too long, a lot of times you're going to, not catch them. So there's a fine line between having a really good tournament and having a bad tournament. And you guys know what I'm talking about, that fish tournaments. It's like, it's one move here. It's one lost fish or one, right pitch behind a boat dock there. There's a fine line between doing well in tournaments and not. So the only people that really understand this to the level of what I'm talking about are the people that have tournament fished for decades and decades and decades and see it unfold. And you see, what happens is you see your evolution as an angler. You start out as a novice, you get to intermediate, your skills build and build and build, and then you plateau at the peak of your career, usually in your 30s. And then at the top, when you're in your 30s, you got everything clicking. You got physically, mentally clicking. You got everything in your life lined out. You're creative. You got a little experience. And then what happens is you start to get over 40, then in your late 30s, your creativity and ingenuity starts to go downhill. Your physical and mental acuities, you start to have reading glasses to tie your knots. You get more responsibilities. You have bills. You have kids getting ready for college. Then that performance starts going down like that. It's going to happen to you guys. Like I said, all you dudes out there right now that are in these regional tournaments like the Toyota Series, and you're at the top of the list every tournament, your day's coming, just like it is for Clun, just like it is for Van Dam, just like it is for me. So enjoy it now. But the thing about it is you can still educate. It's like, even though, Pete Rose, had 4,000 all-time hits leader in baseball, put him up there against a major league pitcher today and see what would happen. But when Pete Rose teaches you about hitting, you're going to listen to him. It's the same with bass fishing. Bass fishermen go downhill with age, but their experience and their ability to teach and pass on information to other people never stops. And that's sort of the place that I'm at. I love tournament fishing. I can still compete. I may not be where I was 20 years ago with it, but I still love being out there, and I learn something every day. So anyway, message to your armchair anglers, just take a seat on this. Unless you've done it as long as a lot of us have, you can take a seat and just observe on it, and just be a little nicer next time. So talk to you guys later. See you.